A lot of times when we are asked to bring medical report for our kids before they go to a school, we just go, most parents just go and get one place or the other, pay a token fee, and these reports are done without genuine medical examination. Been reading stories, reports from newspapers and television of how students suddenly just die in our schools. Last year in Abaji and in Buhari, as well as in Enugu and Delta State, we read of how students who were being disciplined with the cane by their teachers suddenly collapsed and died. And that is really very suspicious and should raise concern about the possibility of undetected health situations before death. So the Make a Difference initiative, concerned by that, has called you to this briefing in order to call for urgent legislative action at all levels, from the federal legislature to the state legislature, that they need to pass an act as speedily as possible to mandate parents to, as a matter of course, ensure that at least every academic session, genuine and thorough medical examination is conducted for the awards, their children, so that in case there are underlying ailments that they are not aware of, these things that have been leading to a lot of sudden death, it can be arrested as quickly as possible. That way, once a legislative action is conducted, then we would expect that the National Orientation Agency at all levels too will conduct enlightenment campaigns so that parents will understand the import. It is not a punitive measure, it is a measure to help parents and society to safeguard our future, which is our children who are suddenly dropping dead in schools for one reason or the other. Now, a lot of times when we are asked to bring medical report for our kids before they go to a school, we just go, most parents just go and get one place or the other, pay a token fee, and these reports are done without genuine medical examination. So our suggestion is that if an act is passed at all levels of legislature, it will be criminalized that if parents go and get fake results, because the purpose for which we are asking for this law is so that the health status of our children periodically is determined, is known, and so schools that they are entrusted in their care will be able to take precaution while handling the kids. Perhaps we will now also talk about how hospitals that will be providing these services will either be doing that at the instance of government at a very, very low cost, a cost that is subsidized by government. This is very important because, like I said, you've read in different places incidents of sudden deaths of people's children. One of those cases you will also recall is the current case that has not yet been resolved between Veritas University and the family of a late 100-level student, Joshua Daniel Ejigbo, who was said to have slumped while in the gym. That's the claim of the school, whereas the family is saying that something untoward has happened. We want to use the opportunity to call on the FCT Police Commissioner to please unravel this. Autopsy, we understand, have been conducted. It needs to be disclosed, and there must be a follow-up so that we'll know the full reason this happened. And this is part of why we keep calling for a legislation to say we must have periodic examination of our students, so that we avert any sudden death situation. To this end too, I wish to take the opportunity to also commend the FCT Police Commissioner and his team. I'm talking of Mr. Ben Igwe, who investigated the recent case of the Brick Hall school, where a little boy, 4-year-old Miguel Ovoke, 4-year-old Miguel Ovoke died, and there was controversy over it. Miguel was a 4-year-old student of Brick Hall School. The controversy really heated up at a point where the mother and some family friends and all that came and were alleging that Brick Hall, the child died as a result of electrocution. Interestingly, the FCT Police Command, and particularly led by the Commissioner of Police, swiftly waded into that matter. Autopsy was conducted. The autopsy disclosed really that the child wasn't electrocuted. The child was actually died as a result of asphyxiation. That means he was choked. And what choked the child? A meatball choked the child to death. The food that he took from home that he was eating, intestine or something, all these assorted meats, one of it choked the child, and the autopsy result confirmed all of that. But what is happy about it's sad to lose a child, but what is gratifying in this experience is that the FCT Police Command swept in swiftly, conducted investigation, did autopsy in the presence of all parties. The school had representative, the family had representative, and they were able to come to a conclusion that was, very definitive. And family, mother, parents of the child, and the school came to an agreement, and that the autopsy had disclosed what killed the child, which was choking. What is interesting there is that it was able to at least have people have closure. The family is at the point where it's healing now because they've accepted it as an act of God. The school itself, in respect to the memory of the child, also decided that they were going to dedicate a resource center in the name of Miguel Ovoke. I think that this is exemplary, especially for school owners. Most times when crises happen in school, when tragedies happen, schools are more in tune to, instead of working with parents, they are more in tune with fighting with the parents to protect the name of the school. But in this case, we've seen something pretty exemplary because both parties worked together, came together, autopsy was done. They found a middle ground, which is the fact that the autopsy clarified that the child did not die of electrocution, the child died of choking by a meatball. And they have come together, they've agreed, and everybody is trying to move forward from that. And that is because the FCT Police Command and the Commissioner did a thorough professional job. And that's the reason there's no controversy anymore. It is settled that this child died, unfortunately, in the manner that it shouldn't have happened. And it calls us to also call on parents, on caregivers, on even schools that also provide food for kids who come to them, that we must be meticulous in preparing the food that children eat. Children at that age or tender age, there are things you must avoid giving to them. So I think all parties, including parents, must learn from this experience so that it doesn't recur. But you see, the swiftness with which the Miguel Ovoke case was resolved is not the same swiftness with which the Joshua Daniel Ejigbo of Veritas is being resolved, and it's a concern. We are asking that the commissioner himself takes the matter of the Daniel Ejigbo case a little more seriously, and they conduct thorough investigation, and this is resolved. Family will not have closure, family will not heal if investigation is not brought to a conclusion through a meticulous and honest process. So we ask that the Commissioner of Police and the FCT Command does that to ensure that we can finally rest the case and healing can start on the part of the family and even on the part of the school can move forward while urging parties to learn from it. That's the reason we have called this press conference, and we hope that you'll be able to help give us the voice so that the right steps are taken, not by the legislators and also by parents and all stakeholders who are involved. It is in the interest of every school for genuine medical state of each child that is brought to them to be known. If they know, for instance, that a certain child has, let's say, something like tonsillitis, which of course affects the airway and the passage, then they will be more careful as to the kind of food and the meat that they give to such a child. So it's important. Nobody is excluded. It will be a bill that will be expanded. The legislature has a lot of technical partners who can work with them. But ultimately, everybody is involved. The school itself will be more or less even the executor of whatever law is made, because the medical reports that will be brought by parents will actually be brought to the school. But like I said, if parents are enlightened enough, and that's the work of National Orientation Agency and perhaps even Ministry of Education, if parents are enlightened enough to know that this can help to, prevent any unforeseen circumstance such as sudden death, parents will do the right thing. But most times, parents just think it's just a mere ritual. But if we get our lawmakers to make it such that it is criminalized, and they are told why, because you don't make a law and just immediately criminalize and begin to effect the criminalization of it without doing campaigns to enlighten people, and the media will play a major role in that. I give you an example, even using the Miguel Ovoke's case. Miguel, for instance, had tonsillitis. So with a meat that goes in the meatball, remember what tonsillitis is like. It already chokes the airway. Okay, so you now have meat there. You get stuck. But if this information is disclosed, naturally, whoever is the caregiver in school at that time sees meat will immediately say, no, it's a no-no. Okay, or maybe the meat will be cut in much smaller pieces, or we insist on fish at such stage. So it is for a case like this and many other cases that we are saying that if we must protect the future of Nigeria, which is our little ones, our children, then we must take legislative action.
The aspect that the school authority should watch out for.
Okay, the school is